Let's go. Are we actually on? You're here listening with Kayla
and Georgia,
bringing you real, raw, and relatable chats on the Evolve to Thrive podcast.
Stay tuned because shit's about to get juicy as we dive into all things health, fitness, life, and relationships.
Let's go. Woo. Today, I am accompanied by Miss Audrey Devito. So for those of you who don't know who Miss Audrey is, she is an online coach at DVP Fitness, and she specializes in women's health, fitness, training, and mindset. Now, Audrey and I share a very similar coaching style, and for that reason, I decided to actually get her on today to discuss the festive season, how we as coaches actually help our clients navigate through this time of year, because it can be pretty, a challenging
daunting
time. Yeah, it can be a really anxious time for those who are actually health conscious. So buckle in, everybody, because we're going to help give you some tips and advice on how to stay on track and how not to gain 10 kilos this Christmas.
Yep.
Woo! Welcome, Miss Audrey.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I'm ready for this.
She is. We are going to probably go off on many tangents today.
We're both massive talkers, so
but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So we'll get into very first things first.
Yeah.
Audrey, we do a craving or a tip of the week.
Okay.
So are you going to give us a craving or are you going to give us a tip for
I'm
the
going
week?
to give a craving.
Okay.
So my craving, people are either going to love this or hate this. Now, I put on my story the other day, pineapple with chicken.
Oh.
Did you see my story?
Yeah,
I was like, yeah.
I saw this.
It's good,
I did
yeah.
see this.
So like 35% people said that's weird, but you need to try it. You need to try it because it's like, it's savory, but then the pineapple makes it like sweet. And then a bit of avocado, a bit of lettuce. That is my craving. And I don't think I'll get off that for like weeks now. So I'm glad you agree.
I actually want to try it because
it's really good.
I actually haven't done it and I see it all the time. It's like a pineapple in salad vibe with chicken.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I saw someone do it with mango. That would
be good.
And that would be really good too. So
I'll
get back to you if I tried that.
I'm going to have to try that.
Pineapple's really good with chicken.
Now, do you get like, is it fresh pineapple, frozen pineapple?
Fresh.
Like tinned pineapple?
Fresh. Cut it up from Woolies, so I don't have to cut it up myself.
Yep.
Marinate the chicken in sesame seed, a bit of teriyaki,
Ooh.
lettuce, cucumber, avo, rice.
Done.
And Califit mayo sauce.
Oh my God, which Califit mayo?
Mayo.
Which one? No.
The normal one.
There's like 3 different ones. There's like curry and then there's like another curry mango.
Oh, that's curry ketchup and curry mango. No, just normal mayo.
Ah, all right.
Yeah.
That's our tip.
That's my craving. No, that's my craving.
Yeah.
And my tip is to try that.
There we go. All right. Well, do you know what I'm actually craving this week? No, I'm not. I'm actually going to give a tip. It's blended into one, craving and tip, because it's fucking unreal. I bought it. The brand is the Panna, and it is a chocolate spread.
I did see this.
And the reason that I am shouting it out is because I am someone with a very sensitive gut. And if I have too much Nutella, it sets me off. So this is really, really good. It is, I'm pretty sure it's vegan or gluten-free.
Yeah.
And it tastes unreal on like an English muffin or in your oats or
I'm
on
sorry.
anything out of the jar.
Does it taste like Nutella though?
It's got like it's like a coconutty flavor to it, but it's so,
I have to try it.
It's so good.
I love Nutella. My mum, every single year for Christmas, my mum would buy me a big tub of Nutella so I can double dip in it.
Yeah.
Like that's how much I used to love Nutella. So I'll try it.
Give it a go. And I think the other thing with that, the same company, it's literally called Panna. They do a really good like lactose-free, gluten-free ice cream. So I find for people that are trying to be, health conscious, they go for the Halo Top. They go for all these diet ice creams that set me off because of all the artificial shit in
bad,
there.
Bad.
Right? So I'm like, that's it. I actually need to go dairy-free and just have dairy-free ice cream. And I found this Panna one, and it's like chocolate, hazelnut, and like salted caramel. They've got all these amazing flavors.
Yum.
Like the macros are, it's like having normal ice cream, obviously, but
it was cleaner though.
do you know what?
Yeah.
It's better on your gut. You're not going to fart everywhere.
Yeah.
And it tastes amazing.
Good, yeah.
So they are our cravings and tips. But let's get into today's episode. So I wanted to talk today about obviously the festive season.
Yeah.
And because we do share such a you know, because we share such a similar approach to coaching, I wanted to get into that as the main purpose of actually having you here today. And we will provide the listeners with a bit of advice and some tips with navigating this social time. But before we do that, I'm sure the people want to know who the hell you are, Audrey. So tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. How would your friends describe you in 3 words?
Okay. I'd say driven, passionate, and just happy.
I love that.
Those are my 3, yeah. And actually, I would say structured as well.
Structured.
My mom calls me very structured. I'm a very routine-driven person. Everyone close to me knows that.
I love that.
So
and
those would be my top ones.
You know what? You were here like 20 minutes before you were supposed to be.
I messaged her. I'm like, I have time anxiety. So, Rush, just letting you know I'm here.
Next minute, I'm eating my dinner, like scoffing it down, being like, I've got to be there.
Structured. So, yeah, that is a little bit about me.
Great qualities. And then, so how did you get into health and fitness? Like, do you have a story behind how you actually got into health and fitness?
So, I guess, okay, we'll take it back to high school. Year 11 and 12, so my only subjects in high school I enjoyed was PE and health. That is it. Forgot about law, history, maths, English, nothing.
Ew.
So bad. So I think I guess that's when I found my passion in school. And then straight after school, I got a scholarship to study exercise science. So I did that at VU, loved it. And then when I started studying my bachelor, that's when my passion grew. So started taking my training a little bit seriously. I actually started learning about tracking macros. I was trying to put on a little bit of muscle. Obviously lockdown happened, so I was training from home with, some dumbbells, little bench. And yeah, that's just how it started. And then as much as I hated COVID, I always say this, but I'm very grateful because it was during COVID where I really focused on myself. That's where I was like, okay, I want to be a coach. I actually want to help people now. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, how it started. And then, I never really struggled with the yo-yo dieting. Like, obviously, there was phases where when I was, like, do you remember, that Coles noodles that is, like, no calories? What's it called? It's, like, got no calories. It's disgusting. I would be eating that because I would think, I have to eat this. It's low calories. So, it was just all a learning process. But I guess that's how I got into it. Yeah.
That's great. So you actually just had a passion for it from day dot. Like, you were just always into health and fitness in school.
Only thing I was into, you know. And I tell everyone this as a joke, like, don't ask me about politics. Don't ask me about geography. Ask me about anything nutrition related. And I'll send you like a massive paragraph. So yeah, that's how I got into it.
You picked your strengths, and then you've decided to hone in on that and crush it and dominate.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. So you did your Bachelor of Sport and Exercise Science, and I believe you recently just studied your sports nutritionist degree as well.
So I did that through Sports Nutrition Association, which was really good. So that was just an online cert, and now no studying.
No studying.
For now, knowing me, I'll just enroll in something very soon. I love it.
Yeah, you love learning.
Yeah,
you love evolving.
Exactly.
Hey.
As a coach, though, you need to keep educating yourself, though.
Absolutely.
And like you would know that as well. Like, especially the industry is growing. Like, so much more research is coming out as well. You've got to keep
up to date.
Yeah.
And things change. Like, if we look at the fitness industry from, now to like 5-10 years ago, it's just changed tenfold, and
crazy.
You've got to keep up. But I guess now you are full-time coaching.
Yeah.
You work as a coach with Vanessa Panella at DVP Fitness.
Yes.
And so, because I think we do share such similar values to coaching, it's a really good thing, especially at this time of year, to talk about maybe some of the challenges that, we see day to day.
Yeah.
Because we do, I think, for those wondering, the kind of style of coach that we do practice a bit of a lifestyle, flexible, teaching people more realistic common sense approach, so that, I want to actually get you into this a little bit more.
Yes.
Talk to me about some of the struggles that you see on the day-to-day with your clients, whether it is now at this festive time of year or just even throughout the year. Like, when you get a client on board and you're doing a consultation, like, what are the main things that kind of alarm you straight away?
Red flags.
Yeah. What are the red flags?
Okay. Biggest one. So I work with like predominantly all females, all ages as well, different goals. I think the most common concern I hear on consultations is people coming from a background of yo-yo dieting. So, you know, if that could be extreme diets like 1,200 calories, they're scared to increase their calories even more, or, you know, fearing carbs, just coming from a background that is not educated. So that is like the biggest concern that I guess a lot of my team come from. Also just like body image, self-esteem, you know, like clients that are scared to step into the gym for the first time, a lot of females, those would be the big ones.
Yeah. So how do you navigate that? How do you help them overcome those challenges?
Big one, education. And I know you're really big on this too. So like main goal, and I think a main goal of every coach should be this, is you should want your client to leave your program being their own expert, yeah? So teaching them that, no, you don't need to eat 1,200 calories. Like, you're not a toddler, you know? Like, and carbs, like, literally have so many purposes. Like, you cannot be training on 50 grams of carbs. Like, no. So just educating them actually, and even though they're very afraid to start to increase their calories, start to have a little bit more carbs, once they realize that they can get results on it, and they're like, oh, I see now.
It speaks for itself, doesn't it? And even just energy levels as well. And I think just trusting your coach with that information and or with the protocols that have been set for you. Because a lot of the time I receive a similar thing where people will come to me on these low calories and you set them, you know, you might start them just at maintenance just to see how their body responds. And they may not have ever eaten that much in their head. They may not have ever eaten that much food, and they're sitting there going, I can't eat this much food. And then, or another thing, they don't normally eat before they train. They train fasted, and then the moment you tell them try and eat some carbs before you train, and they're like, what? No, what do you mean?
I need to be fasted.
What do you mean? And then next minute they're eating carbs before training, and then they can't look back.
Good. Yeah, 100%. Another really big one is expectations. So from like a client perspective, you can't, like, you're not going to be losing 2 kilos of body fat in 1 week, babe. Like, that's not healthy. That's not sustainable. So, and like clients like should be proud of themselves for losing even a couple 100 grams like per week, you know? I mean, did I say a couple 100? 200 grams
like
per
200,
week.
300
yes,
grams.
fantastic. So that's another really big one where, and you know, like that's still something a lot of my clients are still dealing with now.
I think because they assume like, oh, let's lose a kilo a week.
Yeah.
I want to lose, 10 kilos in 10 weeks kind of thing. Then they expect that 1 kilo drop per week. And even the thing with the whole, they start really, really strong.
Yeah.
If that same thing with expectations in terms of thinking that they're going to be like that for the whole time they're with you.
Yeah.
And it's actually okay to have a shit week and
100%.
and not be 100%
I always
compliant.
say, like, when you have bad weeks, it's actually good because you realize, okay, this is the sense of direction I need to go in. This is what I need to work on. If you never have a bad week, how do you know what to improve on?
Yeah.
You know? So that's how I like to say, like, it's all a learning curve.
Yeah. And then it's trial and error too. Like when they do have that, that particular situation, they learn from it too.
Yeah.
And how to actually manage their time.
100%.
Yeah. So if we then relate this to kind of looking into the festive season and the direction that this, the year has come to. It's December. Now,
Christmas
lot of
parties,
it's
alcohol.
just the fun time of year, right? Now, what kind of phase or what kind of expectations or goals do you realistically set with your clients at this time of year?
Cool. So I like to periodize my own nutrition the same way I do with my clients. So December, you're not going to be in a deficit every single week. Like, there's just not a chance. Like, for me personally, like, the way I like to handle it is, so I like to be out of a deficit as soon as December hits. Yeah. Go straight back up to maintenance, sit there around summer, etc. Whereas a lot of my clients that have quite, like, fat loss focused goals, they still want to be in a deficit during December, but I teach them that it's okay to have a couple of weeks diet break. Like, if you set the expectation that you're going to be dropping during Christmas, during New Year's, it's just setting yourself up for disappointment. So I like to give them a diet break around this time of the year, Christmas, New Year's. And I don't know about you with your clients, but no tracking on Christmas Day.
No, not at all.
No. I'm like, if I see you're my fitness pal, nah. So that's what I like to do with my clients. Diet break, no tracking whatsoever on Christmas.
Yeah. So with a diet break, in terms of the lead up to Christmas, so is that, you know, let's say you check in with them the week before Christmas.
Yeah.
So are we looking at calories from a weekly perspective? Yeah. And in terms of the way that you work with your clients, is it purely tracking macros or is it meal plan based?
Both. So each client, obviously dependent on like which client, their situation. I usually like to get clients started on meal plans so they learn how to build their own meal plan, and then end goal is I want them to be tracking themselves. So some clients are at that level where they can track themselves, they can build their own meal plan, and then other clients who are beginners still on meal plans.
Yeah, I think each version has its purpose.
Yeah,
and
pros and cons of both.
And I think it's really important to acknowledge that too. Like when you take on a client and go, this is actually a big step for them to learn how to track macros for the first time, when they have, you know, they need that guidance and they need that structure to see what a day on a plate should look like.
And how to volumize their food too as well. That's another big one.
That's a great one. Like good quality food sources to make them feel full.
Yeah.
So then so back to the topic of like how we would navigate Christmas.
Yeah.
And coming up to this time of year, even just if we look week to week with, you know, people having Christmas parties and things like that, what is the general week to week check-in with your clients in setting them up?
Yep. So dependent on what they've got going on, Christmas parties. So let's say, for example, client had 3 events on. She's got Christmas party, dinner with the girls, family lunch on, whatever. So the way I like to navigate it is, okay, maintenance focused week. Awesome. And maintenance focused weeks, they're not a bad thing. Like I always say, if you know how to maintain your body comp and your weight and etc., that's a win because it means you know how to sustain your results long term once you've reached your goals. So that's the first thing I tell the client. That's the goal. That's the expectation. Don't have the goal. You're going to be dropping 500 grams when you've got heaps of events on. And in the check-in, I sort of, and if any of my clients are listening to this, they're like, you say this all the time, pick and choose your battles with events. So if you've got 3 events on and, you know, you still want to be somewhat in line with your goals, you're not going to be getting hammered on all 3 events. You know, maybe if your Christmas party is a little bit more important, you can be a bit more flexible, have a few extra drinks, and then maybe on the other 2 events, you can, or, you know, rather than getting the fried chicken burger, you're going to get the grilled barramundi with a side of veg. So picking and choosing your battles, and then just implementing strategies such as hunger cues. You know, when you feel about that 70% content feeling, that's a cue to stop eating. Just running through those, I guess, strategies.
Yeah, that's such a good point because it's so true. Like I feel like I say the same thing. What you've got to do is even like, which event is worth you getting blind at?
Yes.
Like is it actually going to be
so bad? What nutrition coaches are saying this? Yeah.
Which one are you? Because you got to think about this. You need to, I think my biggest thing with my clients too is you need to understand that your relationship with food also is important to us
100%,
as a coach. And we don't want you developing a bad relationship with food around this time. We don't want you feeling guilty for having, you know, feeling like you are restricted and you can't eat this or you can't eat that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, okay, you tell me if it's a wedding and a night out with the girls. Okay, have the fun at the wedding. Like, and then for the random night out with the girls, just be the designated driver.
Yeah.
Eat before you go, or, you know, decide which meals you're going to eat out for and which meals you're going to prep for. And then the same thing.
100%. Or if the client's like, okay, I just want to be I want to go a little bit all out on all of them. That's fine. But then you need to expect to not see a big drop that week.
Yeah.
And that's okay as well. You just need to, expect that as well. So it sort of goes both ways.
That's true. And I always say to my clients as well, I say, okay, tell me, are you happy with the choice that you made this week?
Yeah.
And I just put it back on them and I just say, look, you've gone out, you've had a 300 gram increase this week. Are you okay with that decision?
Yeah.
And they'll either say yes or no.
Was it worth it? Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's when you can say, well, if you are happy that you chose, you know, fun over macros, then great. And we can move forward with a better structure the following week. Or if they sit there going, nah, it was shit, it wasn't worth it. I'm like, good, you learned your lesson.
Exactly.
Like it's either or.
Now you know what to improve on.
Yeah. I love it. So I guess with that said then, the main focus would be set yourself up with realistic goals.
Yes.
Yeah. Like stop trying to think that you're going to lose body fat and weight over this time. Like, cool, you can if you want to be deprived and miserable.
Yeah.
But if you actually want to have a life as well and find that happy medium, like, yeah,
100%.
if you can maintain your weight over that time, great.
Fantastic. That's a win. Like it's only a couple of weeks out of the entire year.
Yeah.
You know, and like this is a time like you need to be okay with adopting that memories over macros approach. Spend time with your family, spend time with your friends. And, you know, like it's not this time. And I think we should make clear as well, we're talking about like general pop people, like different story if you're a bodybuilder. I'm sure, different protocols, but like just spend time with your family. You know, like if I was to bring my meal prep on Christmas lunch at my nonna's, my nonna would be so upset.
Yeah, she'd be offended.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I've just spent hours cooking of 5, like, you know, nah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that you raised that point too. I think majority of the audience that listen here are your general pop clients.
Yeah.
Obviously, we get a lot of coaches and bodybuilders listening to this, but I'm sure they're educated to know that like there's a deadline and, you know,
We're not talking to you guys.
we're talking about the gen pop that also want to live their life. So I think even with that said, it's like, well, when it does come to tracking versus not tracking, you know, it's okay to adopt an intuitive approach around this time as well.
Yes.
And
not to feel guilty about that.
That's right. And then I know for me as a coach, I always have, like people know me for teaching people how to track their macros.
Yeah.
But I always say to my clients, I never ever want you to feel boxed in and locked into this. You need to track your macros for the rest of your life, because it doesn't need to be like that. And it shouldn't be like that, because once you do actually learn the process of it, you can start then to move away from it. Because if you do know how to track your macros well, when you go out into a social setting, like you'll be able to eyeball something. And if you weigh your food all the time and do all of that, you'll be able to go out and make an educated decision.
100%.
That's going to align with what you want to do.
100%.
Or you'll say, you know what? No, I actually want to eat a freaking pizza tonight. and you'll enjoy it. Or you'll have a cocktail and it's fine. So yeah, are you kind of in that kind of mindset with your clients?
100%. And like obviously every client is a little bit different dependent on their situation, where they're at, what their goals are. But if they are not tracking this time of the year, that's okay. Yeah. Like that's okay. And a lot of my clients that have been tracking for months, they've learned that. And what you were saying about eyeballing. So if they, and I always say this to some of my clients, before you look at the scale, so say you're weighing out, I don't know, your avocado. Before you look at the scale,
guess.
I do that. Guess what it is. It's fun. It's a game.
It's a fun game.
And then you'll like take it off and be like, oh, okay, I was actually, you know, maybe 5 grams off. And it goes to show that the more you track, the more educated you are about it, so that, you know, on the days you don't track, you're still going to be somewhat in line with your goals.
Yeah, that's such a fun game to play.
I always do it myself as well. I'm like, damn, I'm good. 1 gram off.
I do that so many times. And I actually was doing it with a friend the other day. I was like, wait, let me guess. And then I guessed it. And I was literally like 1 or 2 grams off.
So yeah, that's what I implement with some of my clients too. But yeah, eating intuitively, it's not a bad thing this time of the year.
Yeah, I think it's a great decision. And something else that brings me to mind as well is, that need to be strict versus rigid. And I think seasons, like as you said earlier, picking when you're going to be in a calorie deficit versus when we're going to be in a surplus, when we're going to track our food versus when we're not going to track our food. Yep. And something that brings to my mind is like, I look at my whole year and go, okay, when do I want to get shredded? Like most of the
same.
Like when is the best time to get shredded? I'm telling you now, it's not now.
It's not now.
You want to be shredded by this time of year.
Yeah, literally. So you want to be back up to maintenance. Yeah. Like it's funny you say that. So like my plan of attack every year. So I'll like from now until like summer, I maintain, track every now and then. When I travel, I don't track whatsoever. And then I'll like, once I get back, say February, I'll like maintenance, start to bring my calories up, build. And then as soon as September hits, it's cutting time.
It's cutting time.
Then when December hits, give me my food, I'm back on maintenance.
Yeah.
And I'm a lot more flexible with myself as well.
And would you say that's also when you go, all right, when you're in your cut, that's when you're rigidly tracking your food?
You're like reading my mind.
Because we're the same coach.
I was literally about to say, when I'm in a deficit, I'm a lot more rigid. Like I limit my meals out. I don't really drink alcohol that much anyway, but like limited drinks. And then because of that, when I'm on maintenance, when I'm in a build, I like to be more flexible.
Yep.
because I know when I'm in a deficit, I'm a lot more rigid.
And I think being so rigid in that phase teaches you a lot too, because then you start learning, okay, almost what you can get away with, and what you can't. And something that I noticed with myself, because my clients will do this too, and they'll say, oh, but I ate really, I picked a healthy option when I was out, and I wanted to kind of stress too, like I know when I have a relaxed meal out, I will definitely have like a 1 to 2 kilo increase on the scale that over the weekend.
Sodium.
I wanted to normalize the whole scale weight fluctuations.
Yes. Okay.
too.
This is a really good. We need to touch on this.
Yeah, because let's just say you've been really, really good from Monday to Friday. You've stuck to your meal plan or your calories or your macros, and you get to Friday night and it's drinks with the girls or guys or both, whatever. And then you decide there you want to look at the menu in advance. You have decided, yep, I'm going to order my steak and my veggies and oil on the side. And you get there and you're like, fuck that, I'm getting pizza.
Yeah. With a couple of wines.
Or someone goes, so you're going to have a drink, and you question in your head, you're like, no, it's not going to fit the macros. It's not going to fit the macros. But then you're like, but I want the drink. And then you cave and you have the drink. And then you're like, fuck. Damn
it. Oh, well.
So it's one of those things where in the moment, the temptation is so strong. So you almost have to weigh up. It's like the decision.
Is it worth it? Yeah.
Is it worth it? And is the decision, like, do you want to go a drink or do you want to go dessert? Do you want to have pick one, not both?
Pick and choose. Pick and choose
your battles, as you said. Yeah.
100%.
But the thing is, let's just say we are that person who's caved.
Yeah.
And we've gone, fuck it. I'm going to, like initially you said you were going to have one piece of pizza. Next minute you've eaten the whole thing. Yeah. It happens. Guilty.
This happens to both of us. Don't worry.
Gonna have one glass of wine, turns into 4.
Yeah. I told myself I wasn't gonna get a creamy cocktail, but I got a pina colada.
Yeah. It was gonna be a prosecco, but it's now it's now a pina colada. All right. The guilt after that.
Yeah.
How do we work with our clients with their mindset around this?
Okay. Number 1, always go back. Education. Why is the scale going up? Why? Is it fat? Is it water? You need to determine that first. So, like, to put it in perspective, so per gram of carbohydrate, hold like 3 to 4 grams of water. So, obviously, if you're having more food volume, more carbs, more sodium, alcohol, your body is going to be holding on to extra fluid, extra water retention, and that is going to be depicted on the scale. So, if you are educated about, okay, this is just water gain and it's not fat gain, it sort of eases, I guess, obviously you're still going to feel guilty, let's be real, but it does ease that pressure off you because you know, okay, this is not fat gain. This is not fat gain. It is just water gain. Next thing, I actually never allow my clients to jump on the scale the next day after.
Don't do it.
I say to my clients, do not do it. Like, it's just going to be heavy and it's just going to stuff your mindset up, you know? So not weighing in after a night out in the morning. 2, educating yourself that it is just water.
And it'll go down in a few days.
It'll go down. Like, the scale doesn't tell you, okay, this is your fat mass, this is your water mass. It just tells you literally how much you weigh. So it's not going to, tell you the difference. So that's, a big one. Just educating yourself that it is water gain. And just don't win this. Just don't jump on the scale.
Yeah.
It's going to go down.
I think as well, looking at your week-to-week fluctuations with your weight too.
Yeah.
Something that I do with my clients is I actually get them to weigh in every Wednesday and every Saturday.
Yeah.
And I actually look at their weight from Wednesday to Wednesday and Saturday to Saturday, not Wednesday to Saturday.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be different. And you can almost identify the patterns. So if you know that you're on a Friday, if you weigh in whatever you weigh in, and then you're 2 kilos heavier on Monday, but then by Friday, you're back down to that 2 kilos less.
Yeah.
And then the same thing happens and it's that constant repeat. Well, you know you're at maintenance by doing whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's then easy to identify, well, if you want to be in a fat loss phase, then just tighten up your weekends a little bit more. But within reason, this is why I guess we say pick when you want to be actually in a deficit and when you actually just want to live your life.
Mm-hmm. And I think calorie cycling is another really good one we can touch on too.
Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know, calorie cycling, just a strategy and a tool that you can use when you are tracking your macros. I know this is a bit controversial. Like, some coaches hate it, some coaches go for it. So my opinion on it, and let me know what you think as well.
Yeah.
So I think it is a great strategy, but it needs to be used properly.
Yep.
So for anyone that doesn't know about this strategy, it's pretty much just looking at your calories from a weekly average rather than a daily average. So, and you can split your days into high calorie days, lower calorie days with the same weekly target. So you can save like your higher calorie days for when you've got events on, so you have more calories to work with, and then the days where you don't have any events on, you can sort of get away with having a little bit less calories.
Yep.
Just to help with flexibility. Now, where people go wrong is they will starve themselves for one day, so then they can overindulge to the point they feel sick the next day because they've got calories saved. That's not what you want to do. That is where it's dangerous. But if you go about this calorie cycling properly, you know, you work with a coach on how to do it, you don't use it to binge and restrict, etc., then it can be really useful to manage events.
Yeah. I usually, my opinion on that too, it's I think very independent to the client. If you've got a client who has got history with yo-yo dieting and binge restricting, it's probably not something you want to do because it does mess with their headspace, and their psychology will be, oh, that means I eat less on this day and then heaps on this day, which like
and they're
Audrey
more inclined to binge.
They're more inclined to binge because they think they've got all these extra calories to play with. In reality, it's not actually that much more. And I've noticed this from my experience as well, is I think, oh yeah, perfect, I've got all these extra calories to play with. But when you start having what you actually want to eat, that very quickly adds up, you know. So sometimes it works sometimes, but you don't want to be doing calorie cycling. This is my opinion as well. You don't want to be doing it every week.
No. And like from like an energy perspective as well, if you're like dropping your calories too low on some days to save calories for events, like your training's going to go in the bin. Your mood's going to go in the bin. You're probably not going to sleep as well. So it's, I guess, finding that balance.
And then that is also going to result in more scale weight fluctuations as well.
Another thing,
But I think too, because if you want to do that, it's smarter to use those higher calorie, like if you wanted to do it from a training perspective, it would be a good idea to put your higher calorie days on your training days. And we can also touch on in a minute the difference between calorie cycling versus calorie banking, where you just save some calories on the day, or a refeed day as well. So we can talk about those different options as well. But something that I thought I would mention too is, how do you macro split those calories through the calorie cycling strategy?
So, well, like we said, every client very, very different. So for me, like if someone's having a meal out, I would say, okay, volumize your food during the day. Protein is going to be your most important macro, because when you're eating out, you're going to be having more carbs, more
and fats.
So save your carbs and fats. So, you know, egg whites, like YoPro, protein powder, like sticking to like those types of macros throughout the day. That way you've got more carbs and more fat to work with for your dinner out. So that's like how I like to go about it. But that would be more like banking your calories.
Yes. And even, sorry, I think what the answer to the question. So something that I say to my clients is, when we do implement calorie cycling, I'll say your protein stays the exact same for the whole week. So in terms of a daily goal, so like let's just say someone's on 1,700 calories and their protein's 140. They're still going to consume, their goal is still going to be 140 grams of protein for the whole week. And then their carbs and their fats is what would vary. Usually it's your carbs that you're taking the difference between. But from what I've observed as a coach and what people eat when they're out, it's your carbs and your fats that are going to skyrocket when you eat and dine out.
Exactly. And that's why you should keep your protein nice and high throughout the week. That way, you know, you don't get to an event, you're like, I've had no protein this week. You know?
That's exactly it.
Big
so
one.
And I love what you said. We can probably drag this into calorie banking now. So calorie banking is usually when you decide, all right, I'm going to have my same daily calorie for the whole week. And then so consistent calories throughout the whole week. And then on the day that I have an event, I might try and push all of those calories out to the end of the day. So let's just say I'm going out for dinner. I might say to my clients, all right, calorie bank 1,000 minimum calories for this encounter. And then for the rest of the day, I might say, right, you need to make sure that you are, consuming your protein, having a high food volume, low calorie option, and something that is full and satiating, something that's wholesome, nutrient dense. You're going to get your veggies, you're going to get your fruit in, or
high fiber
high fiber, drink heaps of water. And as you mentioned, liquid egg whites, Greek yogurt, that kind of thing is really high in protein and low calorie. And you know, it's going to make you feel full if you make yourself an omelet. I literally put this on my story today. But it's so true. Like if you have something like that is actually going to feel full and satiating, you can almost just change the structure of your day.
Yeah.
So that's where, all right, usually during the week you would have pre-workout, breakfast, snacks, lunch, dinner, dessert. On the day that you're going to have an encounter of drinking and a meal out, you might push your first meal out. That's when
I was going to say that too. Yeah.
That's when you might intermittent fast. You might, you know, get a coffee, drag it out. And then that meal that usually would be your breakfast is now breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
And then you might have a little snack before you go out. Is that how you
that's
kind of?
Exactly how. Literally exactly how. So like say if your breakfast is usually 8 a.m., try push it out to 10:30. And then change the type of foods in terms of volume. Like for me, lettuce and cucumber are like my go-to. Like for example, I always have a sushi bowl for lunch. I'll just flood lettuce, flood cucumber, and it will keep me satiated for ages.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that I do have calories to work with for my dinner.
Yeah.
Another thing as well is if you say, because I always say like banking 1,000 calories is always a good option when you are going out. If you are like on low calories or like, let's say 1,500.
Very good point.
I would not recommend banking 1,000 calories because 500 calories from like the morning until 7 p.m.
That's nothing.
Oh my God. Like you're going to probably binge, you know? So even maybe accepting that day, maybe aim for maintenance.
Yep.
Or maybe aim for a slight deficit. Like people realize your deficit isn't just daily, it's weekly. So if you're in only a slight deficit one day of the week, you're still in a pretty good deficit from like a weekly average. So that's another thing as well. Like don't bank 1,000 calories if your target is super low that day.
Yeah, I actually say this do say this to my clients as well. Because you do get a few clients that are on 1,300, 1,400 calories, whatever the purpose is. There's always a reason behind it.
Yeah.
But if they are, I do say the same thing. I just say, look, you're better off, you know, eat something before you go and then like, you know, have something small when you're out. Yeah. Don't just bank, those calories.
Like, it's too much. And it's going to set them out for failure. Yep. 100%. So that's another important message as well.
Yeah. And I think just like accepting the fact that it's okay if you do have a meal that you've gone over for that day. Yeah. Should we talk about some options with people who may want to track some of these meals that they're going out for and some strategies behind ways that we can socialize with people that don't necessarily always have to involve drinking and partying and that kind of thing?
So if you're going to like a fast food chain, so let's say Nando's, GYG, Grilled, whatever, like 9 times out of 10, their nutrition panel will already be online. So if you're going to places like that, I always say just have a look at what you're going to be ordering. Look at the menu, look at the nutrition label, sort of, you know, you can input that into MyFitnessPal, see how many calories it is and what you've got to work with. So that's how I like to tell my clients to handle like fast food chains. Whereas if you want to be tracking like at a restaurant, it's obviously going to be harder. So I always say choose a meal that you can visually see all ingredients. For example, let's compare poached eggs on toast compared to an acai bowl. Acai bowl, you know what the hell's in that, man. Like it's flooded with just random stuff that can be like easily 800 calories. Whereas for eggs on toast, you can see the poached eggs, you can see the avocado, you can see how many slices of bread, and it's really easy to track it like that. So you can individually input it and log it into MyFitnessPal. Like, okay, sourdough, 2 slices, guesstimate, you know, maybe 50 grams of avocado, input that. So if you are still wanting to track your food eating out, there are definitely ways to go about it. You just need to be a little bit smart about it.
Literally just simplify the process for yourself.
Yeah.
I say this with food tracking just in general. I could literally do a whole another episode on just food tracking.
Yeah,
but
same.
Bring you back for that. But yeah, it's a matter of just simplify your life, make it easier, pick something, exactly what you just said, rather than making it more challenging. And I think that comes to the point where, you know, people who do classify their food as like healthy versus unhealthy can get themselves caught up with over exceeding their calories for the day because an acai bowl is deemed healthy to a lot of people. Yeah. Yet if you're actually educated about energy balance and calories and macros, you will soon realize that there's a lot of freaking calories in that. Yeah. It's like the comparison between smashed avo versus an egg and bacon McMuffin from McDonald's. Yeah. Like, we're not going and telling you to go and eat a Macca's egg and bacon McMuffin, but this is why education is important.
And I'm sure the side bowl provides plenty of micronutrients and everything, but we're just talking about energy balance, which, so calories in versus calories out, that's the most important fact. That's the most, important factor when it comes to, you know, fat loss.
Yeah. So with that said, I think, are there any key takeaways that, or any other suggestions that you would give people who are doing things on the weekend, going out, socializing, Christmas parties? Do we want to touch on alcohol? Like anything else that we want to mention?
Whenever my client has an event that involves drinking, I say, give yourself a drink limit. You don't want to go into an event where, like, if your goal is fat loss, where you don't have a drink limit, because you're going to naturally feel out of control. You're not going to have that goal. So, and be realistic. Like, if everyone's going to be drinking, are you really going to stick to one drink?
No.
So set yourself a goal. Okay, I'm going to have 3 drinks this event. That's it. I'm going to stop there when I get to 3 drinks. So that's the number one thing. 2 is choosing drinks that are more calorie friendly. So your wine, your Moscato, spirits mixed with like Coke Zero rather than your creamy cocktails.
Yeah.
Like your pina coladas.
Yeah, don't do that.
So those are my biggest tips on, I guess, navigating alcohol around this time.
Yeah. Even something that I say to my clients, because you get to the event and you see the cocktails. Yeah. It's like, okay. And also, if a lot of us are crying poor at the moment, save your money and don't get cocktails for the whole night.
Yep.
Like, a strategy that I say to my clients is, okay, get 1 cocktail. Pick 1 cocktail on the menu that you really, really want, have that, and then switch to your vodka sodas or your, I don't know, a
leaner
glass
ones,
of wine. Yeah. Seltzers, things like that. Also depends where you are. Like if you're at home drinking versus whether you are out at a bar. Because if you are at home, you can buy a spirit like vodka or gin and then just get sugar-free soft drink.
Mix it with something.
Like you can do that. But same thing, set yourself a limit and pick and choose your battles again.
100%. There's actually I don't know. I should have found the name. My friend got it for me. It's like, it tastes like Solo. It's 1.6 standards and it's like 37 calories.
But hard solo.
Is that what it's called? Guys, that's my tip.
Is that an alcoholic beverage?
Yeah, 1.6 standards for 37 calories. Yes.
It's on the floor.
That's my tip. Yeah. That's my tip.
Here we are promoting alcohol.
So like, choosing drinks like that as well.
Yeah, be smarter. Be smarter. All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps us up with as much as what I wanted to touch on. Ways that we can maybe training in terms of expectations around training. Actually, this is a really good thing that I wanted to mention is just shifting your focus around this time of year.
Yeah.
So I think as well, when it comes to this time of year, we know that our nutrition is not going to be 100%. Like we know that we're not going to be able to be 100% compliant. So it's about, okay, yes, put yourself at maintenance, but then shift your goal. Like what can you actually focus on to make yourself feel good? You know, a lot of people start saying, oh, I'm just not going to have a coach around this time of year because I'm just not going to follow the plan anyway. Well, it's like, okay, well, how can your coach work with you to prevent you from actually gaining 10 kilos over this time?
This is the most important time to be with a coach.
To remain accountable, right? So like it is a really good time to talk to your coach and be like, okay, well, what can we work on together as an alternative?
Yeah.
So this is where I would say to my clients, well, why don't we like just really amp up the training intensity? Like, why don't we, life has been really hectic, work has been crazy, you're going to have a break. You're actually going to have more time to go to the gym now.
Yeah.
You're going to have more time to get your steps in, maybe even more time to go somewhere for a nice hike or an outdoor activity. Changing what you do to move your body in a way that you enjoy, I think is something that's also not spoken about.
And what I love is how you don't train to burn off the Christmas treats. You train because it makes you feel good, mentally and physically. So that's shift your mindset around that as well. That's a really big one. Like, don't just train because, you overindulge. Like, no, you're training because you're going to feel good. Endorphins are going to be pumping. And, it's what you can focus on. Control the controllables. You might not have controlled, say you went out for dinner. There might have not been a lot of options that align with your goals. But you can still control getting to the gym tomorrow.
Yeah. That's another thing. If you have too many bevies, you might not find yourself getting to the gym. Yeah. So even on that note, like not using cardio as a tool.
Yeah, no.
Like don't use the cardio as method to be, because I know a lot of people do when they do exceed their calories, they just amp up the cardio.
I'll go on the stairs.
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah,
no.
Yeah.
And it probably doesn't even burn as many calories as you think.
Or going for a run. All of a sudden
Yeah.
people are running around.
Yeah.
So yeah, stick to your training. Like you might even be able to focus on trying to get some PBs in the gym,
Yep.
improving just improving the quality of your training, technique, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Getting strong, using the fuel from the food to lift some heavy weight. Yeah.
That's it. And then even just ways of catching up with people as well.
Yeah.
You know, you can simply go out for a walk and a coffee with your friends. Like you can do other alternatives to food. Obviously, it is a time of year where it is a lot of drinking, a lot of partying, but when it does come to your general week of trying to catch up with people before Christmas, like think about what you're doing. Does it have to be a bottomless brunch, or could it just be going out for a coffee and getting some steps in
100%.
or, you know, going to a cafe? Because do you find as well, it's a lot easier to stay on track with your goals for a brunch as opposed to a dinner?
Yes, 100%. Because you're in control of what to order, you know? And another thing, like that just reminded me, I think surrounding yourself with like-minded people is another really big one. Like, does your close circle know your goals? Do they support you? Because if they support you, they shouldn't be offended that, you know, if you want to go for a walk rather than go out for dinner, for example. That's another big one too.
Yeah, I think that's a great option. All right, let's bring it into last tips of advice.
Yeah.
Okay. Any tips for going away on holidays? So for people that are actually traveling, going away on holidays, I know I had a question about training options when away on holidays. So maybe we could talk about tips that you give people when they actually are traveling versus training and nutrition.
Cool. So we'll start with nutrition. I always say pack along some snacks. So protein bars, like even like protein powder, like a lot of NC, like do a lot of like the sample packs as well that you can pack along.
Love them.
Plug NC, guys.
Nutrition capital.
So packing along like snacks like that. That way you can have a little high protein snack in between meals when you are going away. Now traveling as well, obviously a lot of your meals are going to be eating out. So I always say if you can have a meal at home, do so. Like for me when I'm traveling, so I'll be away for the whole month in January up in Noosa. I always have. I know it's my home. Everyone knows me.
I love that.
If you walk into my house, literally what's that? Like the
hallway.
Yeah, like a bench. We've got like Noosa board, Noosa surfboard, Noosa water bottle. It's like a souvenir shop. That's how much we love Noosa. But anyway, what was I saying?
How do you navigate your nutrition when you're in Noosa for a month? What do you do?
So breakfast is the exact same as if I was home. Wheat Bix, I'll bring my protein powder, parabolics, pour it on my Wheat Bix, top with berries every single morning. And then lunch I'll make at the hotel as well. So usually will be like rolls with tuna, microwavable rice, frozen veg, and then dinners will always be out. So see how I'm still enjoying my like trip, but I'm still staying somewhat in line with my goals because what I can have at home, I will.
And that's the thing. It depends on where you are. Like if you have
a kitchen as well.
I was going to say, if you have a holiday house that is a house with full kitchen facilities, there's nothing wrong with you still packing like stuff that you have.
Yeah.
I know when I go up to Echuca in my parents' holiday house, my mum's a legend. She's got all the staples. Yeah. She knows what my staples are because I coach her. She knows what all the staples are in the pantry, and we've literally got like all of it there.
Yeah.
It's there. So I mean, if you don't have a holiday house, but you do have access to a kitchen, like if you can go to a supermarket, get yourself some corn thins, get yourself some muesli bars, protein bars, cans of tuna, microwave rice packets, that kind of stuff, and like a bag of spinach, like you're pretty set. Like you can make a meal really quickly. And then I say even if you just stretch out your meal, have brunch and then you save yourself for dinner and have snack in
you have your protein bar that you buy from Nutrition Capital.
Good plug. But I think those tips are really helpful. Hopefully you all get some value from those.
Yeah.
And then in terms of training. Like if you, what's your verdict on that? Do you train or not train?
Well, I actually don't train when I'm in Noosa. I think I've trained, actually, Mum and I went to a gym because I actually wanted to film some content there. I walk in and it was like, okay, I'm leaving. It was like not like a Melbourne gym. It was like, it was packed. So I was like, nah.
Not for me.
Yeah, I actually don't train when I'm in Noosa. However, if I had a gym like around the corner from where I was, I probably would, but I'll drop it down to like 3 sessions per week.
Great point.
Not my usual 5.
Yeah. Even obviously people were probably thinking, yeah, but like I go to a hotel gym and shit.
Yeah.
Like I can't train properly, or you know, they're somewhere where it's like camping and they obviously can't. Just don't train. Like
You don't
honestly,
need to train.
you don't. If you are someone who is consistent with your training and you show up throughout the year, like 1 week, 2 weeks,
Focus on steps.
a month, it's not going to fucking matter.
Literally, it's not. Like, I mean, like, if you train for, like, if you want to train because, you know, it makes you feel good, different story. Like, you don't need to not train, but don't force yourself if you just want to have a break from training, you know? See it as a deload.
As you said, you train because it makes you feel good, not because you feel like it's a chore. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
So even in terms of training, if you do, like, let's just say you're like me and Audrey and I, and you actually like training. I do it because I do feel good. But what I will do is, let's just say your normal training program is 5 days a week and it's 3 lower, 2 upper, because apparently that's what everyone does these days. Then let's just say you are going to commit to maybe 3 sessions while you're away. Just do some full body sessions.
Yeah.
And do exercises that you like. Use it as a novelty to go into the gym and be like, I'm just going to do a wing it session.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to
just have fun.
Yeah, have fun in the gym. Pick some machines that you love, areas that you want to target. And to be honest, like make your workout short, sharp, and sweet.
45 minutes, that's all.
Yeah.
And because I'll be like, because I'm away for a whole month, I probably will like do a little bit of a drive, go to like an Anytime or like a Good Life down there. I don't know if they have Anytime. I know they have Good Life though, but like 2-3 times a week, just to like get my body moving. Like I know that it makes me happy, but I'm not going to say I'm going to be training 5 days a week. 90-minute sessions. No, you don't need to.
Also, sometimes I think people need to understand that they need a psychological break from training. Like sometimes it's actually good for you to take a week off training completely. Yeah. Because then when you come back home and you're ready to get back into routine, you're actually going to really put the intensity and time into it. My mum says this all the time to me, but for some reason she says to me, she goes, yeah, I'm just not training for the whole 2 weeks of the school holidays. What?
Why?
I'm like, I disagree. But like her mentality is, nah, because when I come back, I'm like real good. And I'm like, you do, mum. But like,
what works.
But yeah, I think, you know, it's not the end of the world if you choose to have a week or 2 off. And then if you do want to train, like focus on some compound exercises. Like
I was going to say that too. Yeah.
You like get on the leg press, do a squat, do a bench press or something like that. That's going to work multiple muscles, and then just pick yourself like 4 exercises or something.
3 to 4 sets done.
Then get out of there and go to the beach.
And you know, your energy output will probably be so high when you're traveling because you're walking around everywhere. So your step count will be out of this roof, you know?
Focus on your steps, and you do lots of walking. Even outdoor activities. As in like water-based activities. So like go grab a paddleboard, do some stand-up paddleboarding or I don't know.
Swimming, whatever.
Ride a bike, get a bike, hire a bike. I don't know. Do different shit. Even like some people do like going for a run when they're at the beach because it's like, I know me, surroundings is everything when it comes to running, and I will actually commit to a run if the vibe is there.
Oh, you're good. I don't know. I remember the last time I went on a run. That would be my New Year's resolution.
I was going to say the last time I went for a run, I got hit. Let's not doing running. Not doing any running for a while. But let's wrap this up with some rapid fire questions. So at the end of every episode, we do ask some random questions. Now, Audrey has no idea what these questions are.
I'm scared.
They are short, sharp, sweet. I mean, if you go off on a tangent, I won't hate you.
Okay. Is it the first thing that comes to my mind?
First thing that comes to your
okay.
Yeah. Right. So I think we've got 15. Yeah, we've got 15 here. So question number 1, a piece of advice that you could give to your younger self.
Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. You know, like apply for that job. You know, like I'm not going on a tangent, but
I will.
When because Vanessa actually encouraged me to get the job at NC, Nutrition Capital. When she first mentioned it to me, I was like, I don't really know much about supplements though. So I sort of was like, nah. And then like a few months later, she was like, just come on, just do it. I was like, okay. And it was the best decision that I've done.
Because you learn.
So just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. Biggest ick or pet peeve? As maybe, pet peeve.
People being late. Except for you.
No, actually, that is right at me.
People being late.
I'm
structured. I'm so structured.
I love it. But do you know what? I'm really trying with this and I'm failing.
It's okay. You weren't that late.
That's my one thing.
You actually only like 10 minutes late.
Fine. Fine. I was early for Peter.
Miles early.
What is the first thing you do in the morning to set yourself up for a positive day?
Put my Apple Watch on. That's the first thing I do.
Do you go to the gym ever, and have you ever forgotten your Apple Watch and it's the end of the day?
I don't even
See you
think
later.
about like it just automatically.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I
Habit.
do. Doesn't really set myself up for success. I think picking out my gym fit
The day before or the morning of?
night before. I usually
Yes, you have to. Organization is
Yep.
key. One habit you've adopted that significantly improved your life.
I'd say getting up early.
What time?
I would go 5 to 5:30.
Yeah, yeah.
Leg day's 5, and then upper body day's 5:30.
Love it, love it. One meal you can't live without.
Protein cereal, Wheat Bix, frozen blueberries on top with peanut butter.
Done. What is your preference? Cooking dinner or a fancy dinner out?
Cooking dinner.
Cooking dinner. Specialty? What's your signature?
Well, now I'm loving my chicken and
Your chicken pineapple?
I don't think I'll get off that for weeks.
You've
So
got me,
gonna say
I'm
chicken
meal
pineapple.
prepping that
Yeah,
for sure
it's so
next week.
good.
Oh, definitely. Spoil someone or be spoiled? Since it's
Spoil
Chris,
someone because my
since it's
love
Chrissy
language
time?
is acts of service.
I
That's
was-
how I give my love.
I was
acts
going to
of
say,
service.
you prompted me because I was
Yeah.
going to add that in, love language. So
There you
acts of
go.
service.
Yeah.
Okay. The one thing that you do to unwind and relax after a stressful day.
Ooh, make myself either a tea or adrenal switch.
Yeah.
And just have my
MC again.
MC, I'm plugging them. Just sit in bed with my diffuser on.
Yeah. Yes. 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 Your go-to method for staying organized and productive.
Being on time, waking up early, writing a to-do list on paper,
Yeah.
not on your phone.
Yeah. I
So you
do the
can-
same.
So you can
We are
cross
the
it off.
same person. Besides me being late. A phrase, mantra, or quote that you swear by. Have one?
See, I was gonna say just do it, but like I can't say that again. Come
Come back to it.
back to that.
All right. A book or podcast recommendation that has changed your life.
Okay, we we're actually just talking about this. That Queendom one, which I can't remember it's something Queendom. Really, really good. Like,
Do you know how it's
entrepreneur-
spelt? For
It's like
people listening?
Queen DOM.
Okay.
Something Queendom.
So Queen,
like
D-O-M.
in terms of like business wise, I was like, wow, so inspiring. Yeah. That's my
Done.
book.
Okay.
I mean, my
What about book? Do you have a book recommendation?
I haven't read it in ages. No.
Nah. Okay. Damn, because I was like, I actually don't need any more book recommendations. I need to finish the ones I've got.
Are you reading fiction or non-fiction?
I think I need to start moving towards fiction because
Yeah.
I think I'm okay with my self development now. I mean, Peter might say otherwise, but yeah, I think I'm sitting there falling asleep
Yeah.
as I'm reading.
Actually,
sometimes
I just thought of a quote.
Yeah,
Well, it's
go.
not really a quote.
A mantra.
It's stay in the present.
stay in the present.
Yes, that's it's not really a quote, but that's
Your
what
mantra.
I live by. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Love it. The worst piece of advice you've ever received.
Oh, worse. No one's really giving me bad
What about the best piece of advice?
Just do it. No. Best
Get
advice.
that tattooed on your
Yeah,
door.
literally. Best advice. Like, it's okay to say no to people.
Mm,
You know, like,
boundaries.
yeah, boundaries. Like, being selfish is okay sometimes.
Love that. Great. Biggest lesson. Oh, hang on. But yeah, biggest lesson you've learnt this year.
Ooh, biggest lesson. Like, educational wise. I've
Anything.
learned so much. This year
Like
has
it could
been
be,
massive.
it could literally about relationships. It could be about work. It could be about anything. Biggest lesson.
Yeah. Mine would probably be work related. This year has been massive. Like NC, I've learned so much. Like supplement wise, Vanessa has taught me so much about business. I think biggest lesson would be even though DVP Fitness is not my business, I feel like I've learned about how to run it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Vanessa and I, and even Sonia, we're such a big team. She's taught me so much about the behind the scenes of business, of a business owner essentially. So that's my biggest lesson
I love that. I keep saying that. Is there anything you regret?
this year.
Is there anything that in life, anything regret?
No,
No.
no. Everything's a
Um,
lesson.
Everything is a lesson. If you could give one piece of advice for someone looking to improve their lifestyle, what would it be? I'm going to rephrase this question.
Yeah.
Since the podcast is called Evolve to Thrive, what is one piece of advice that you would give to someone wanting to evolve and improve their life?
Okay. Be okay with being vulnerable. And what I mean by that is, you know, opening up to a coach, psychologist, whoever it is. Be okay with being vulnerable because that's where you evolve.
Hey,
there you go.
Thank you so much for coming on. I think this chat was very valuable.
Yeah.
To pretty much anyone who listens, I think, because
100%.
I think as a coach, something that I think is so often not spoken about is what people really struggle with their goals at this time of year.
Yeah.
And I think being a coach too, we see the same thing on repeat over and over and over again. And it's becoming more and more common for people to have these challenges around dining out, around socializing, and around actually staying on track with their goals. So I do hope that the listeners here found this useful. And if you did find it useful, we would absolutely love for you to share it to your story, share it to someone that you know.
Show us the love.
Exactly. Share it to someone that you know would benefit. And before we do wrap up, Audrey, where can the listeners find you?
Instagram, Audrey Devito.
That's it.
Little
And
plug.
She
Yes.
posts, I will definitely put your, Instagram in the show
Yes.
notes. So she does work for DVP Fitness.
Yes.
And she can help you out. She also posts some epic training videos,
Thank
gym
you.
tips, recipes. Her pineapple chicken is a recipe on there? I don't
Not
know.
yet,
Might be.
but
It will be.
You've just ruined my surprise.
She's got a real idea coming.
It'll come.
And she does post great things on her
Thank
stories,
you.
and she's very educational. So make sure you give her a follow. And until next time, everybody, we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.